Yeah, I'm talking about homegrown initiatives, storage, and everything about our commodities. Let's delve more into that now with the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of the Seed Project Company Limited, Dr. Zainab Gwadabe, joins us from our Kano studio. Dr. Gwadabe, good morning, and thank you for your time.
Good morning.
So I do hope that you heard a bit of our conversation there. Maybe was talking about what Nigerians are doing now. So price of some food crops are reducing because supply is increasing. And so people are finding innovative ways, homegrown ways to preserve for off-season. I wonder if it's something you've seen around you over there in Kano.
Can you hear me? Can you please come again with the question?
Dr. Gwadabe, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Please come again with the question. I lost
you. Okay, all right. So I was asking, oh God, I do hope that you heard previous conversation, because I wanted to follow up on that to say, maybe saying that because the price of some food crops are reducing at this time, it does seem like some Nigerians are finding ways of preservation, making homegrown or homemade tomato paste just to keep it for the off season. I wonder if you have noticed anything like that around you.
Okay. Oh, all right. Thank you for having me, Ini. So, yes, there's a lot of things happening around me, especially in the rural community that I work in. You see a lot of families, women, youth, going back into farming, especially the backyard farming, just to produce food that they can consume, not necessarily to make money out of it, but just to be able to eat for themselves, because everything now has, the price of food has gone up, and most of our staples that used to be affordable to these rural farmers, even though they are the ones that produce it, it is no longer affordable to them. So a lot of women are going into backyard farming, especially with crops like roselle, tomatoes, and their likes. Yes.
So a couple of times I've been to some northern states, and I notice because most of the food we eat comes from the northern part, so it seems a lot of times there's excess supply and there's waste, post-harvest losses. So you see them drying tomatoes, pepper on the roads, you're driving through and all of that. I wonder, is that still a constant there? And how do you think we can handle such waste?
Yes, post-harvest loss is very common, has always been there, but recently it's becoming even worse. There are a lot of factors around it. One, there is issue of storage. That is one. Two, there is issue of transportation, power supply. Even if you have the storage facility, sometimes power supply becomes an issue. And yes, there is transportation, and there is even the crop itself, especially the perishable ones like tomato, pepper, atarudu, those ones that don't last after harvest. There is a lot of things happening around them. Women are, even the men now after harvest, try to just cut them and dry them on the side of the roads. Especially in my area, you'll see a lot of that happening.
Aren't there better ways that this can be done from your finding?
Yes, there are a lot of things that can be done with post-harvest loss, especially when it comes to mechanization. Mechanization has a lot of impact, will have a lot of, if farmers are able to go into mechanization fully like everywhere else, like most developed countries, I mean, it will reduce post-harvest loss. I just want to give you an example. If you look at, if you're planting rice and you are using the traditional method, using hoes and everything to cultivate, and you decided to bring in to go into mechanization, maybe to bring someone to come with a tractor and do the labor for you, it will cost you averagely about 130,000 for harrowing of 1 hectare of land, which is sounds like a lot of money, but compared to when you do it manually, and at the money you spend doing it manually is more expensive compared to doing it with the machine. If you're doing it manually, I think you pay each person around 3,500 per day. Minimum is 3,000 and 3,500 naira per day, and that person you pay, maybe you have to employ 10 people to do that 1 hectare for you, because they won't like go all in, and like they will not dedicate the whole time to do the work. So you might have to pay today and tomorrow. Meanwhile, if you're using a tractor, you just do it in an hour or less.
So are we saying the lacking, what we're lacking there is the funds?
Lacking, sorry, can you please come again?
Are you in this case saying that the challenge there, the missing link, is the money, or is it the machine?
Yes, there is, the issue is the machine, because I've been in this industry for a long time, but currently I cannot say I know one person who owns a maize combine harvester. It costs about 250,000 to harvest a hectare of land, from like the harvest, the removing of the cob, the packing of the straw and everything. It will cost you around 200 and something, and it's even not available even if you're willing to do it. So the longer your corn stays on the farm, the more loss you incur. So mechanization can reduce post-harvest loss with about 400% if done properly.
And yes, we have a lot of youths, especially, who are innovative. I know there's a young man in Plateau State who does some of these machines for agriculture. There are some in University of Lagos. So where are we missing the link, bringing these young brains to where the needs are?
So in the north here, we don't have much of that option, because of the issue of even sensitizing these farmers of the importance of mechanization. They're still very reserved and conservative in terms of adopting technology and mechanization into their daily farming activities. When a farmer is comfortable, it takes a lot of time and effort to convince that farmer that this is the way forward. Like this, with this approach, you will make more money and you'll be more productive. So we're still in the process of that sensitization and creating awareness.
So we have to sensitize them first before we can even get the youth, because there are some youths who are already building these machines. So is it acceptability that is discouraging the youth from broadening their horizon to where the farmers are?
No, I cannot say. It's not there is issue of accessibility, yes, because we have a lot of issue around extension. There is no farming there is no agriculture without extension, because whatever is done in terms of research, in terms of new technology, in terms of new equipment, if there is no extension, the technology, the machines, the equipment will be there, but it won't reach to where it's supposed to go. Yes, a lot of youths are interested in agri-tech, but the rural farmers, being 80% of the people that produces the food that we consume, are not aware of those technologies or cannot access those technologies yet.
So how do we accelerate this? Do we task the government, for instance, to maybe put it in local dialects and take it there? Or is it individuals like yourself who are inside this, from the private sector, but inside the agricultural sector?
I mean, sensitizing these farmers is everyone's responsibility. With the private sector, the government, the extension, private and government extension service units are all responsible for sensitizing these farmers. But I mean, we have to bring these new technologies close to the farmers who are the people that are very close to these farmers. I would say we, the seed companies, the extension agents, and the local community heads. If we can come together, and maybe farmers believe in what they see. So if you can do demo for them to see for a season, if you use this, it will cost you so amount of money to cultivate a hectare of land, and at the end of the day, this is what you will get. And if you use your traditional method, this is how much you spend, and this is how much you make at the end of the day. So when they see that, then you don't even have to tell them which one to pick. They will make informed decisions on their own.
All right, so some moments ago you did say that you have a lot of youths interested in farming, but that's not the general perception. Has it changed? Do you have a lot of youths in farming now?
Yes, we do have youths interested in agriculture, but we're not where we want to be. We want the youth, considering the population of youth in the country, we want the youth to dominate the sector. So we're still not there, but we're getting there. The youths want to go into the sector, but there are a lot of factors that when you talk to them one-on-one, they will tell you, this is what is stopping me, and this is why I am not where I want to be. These factors like access to finance. When you want to go into farming is not for everyone now, to be honest. They used to think farming is for the poor, but now the cost of a bag of fertilizer is 45,000 naira, so it's not for everyone. And if the youths want to go into production and they go to the commercial banks or any other bank to get loan, they will ask them for collateral. These youths are probably graduates. They're just getting out of school, so they don't even have anything to give, and they are very tech inclined, so they want to look all good, all fancy, and be on the field. So if you can bring in technology and mechanization for them, like you'll be on your bed or in your room and you just be controlling the drones and all those tech things, I mean, they are very much interested in things like that, so it will catch their attention. And
what's your take on genetically modified food? There's been a lot of pros and cons conversation. I just want to get your perception on that.
Oh, well, I don't really like making comments on genetically modified seed, but let me just say a few things. So genetically modified seeds are just like every other seeds. Take, for example, a maize. What differentiates our normal maize from the genetically modified maize is they call this genetically modified maize improved variety. Why is it improved? Because they modified the genes in that variety. They want to make it probably drought tolerant or pest resistant, or they just want to make it adaptable to the climate change. So they just, what they do is they go and find a gene that is resistant to that particular thing they want to do to that maize. Is it pest resistance? So they'll go maybe in animals, it could be anywhere, animals, other plants, and get that gene that can, if put into that maize, can make that maize resistant to pest. But before you put that gene, you have to use something they call a bad gene. A bad gene is the one thing that will make that gene you bring from another plant or animal to put inside the corn to stay and give it that characteristic that they want it to have. It is called a bad gene from the name. Another thing is there is something they call terminator gene. So terminator gene is when something they also put in that maize that after a certain period of time that crop will not germinate again. So you have to go back to the source and get that seed to come and plant, which to me I don't think is is wise and sustainable, because when you depend on someone to give you something to feed your country, it's just a matter any day that that person decided to say, I'm not giving you this material, it means Nigeria is going to be hungry. And we have other crops. What are we talking? Why are we even talking about this genetics? It's all about everything is around climate resilience, being a drought tolerant, flood tolerant, heat tolerant, pest resistant. We have local crops that we are comfortable with that can give us that 10 metric tons that the GMO will give you if, like everything is, with all things being equal, if you follow the good agronomic practice, we have hybrids that can give you the same 10 metric tons.
All right,
so
Dr. Zainab.
If you're not comfortable with that, if you're not comfortable going with that GMO, why just stick to what we
know and what we're used to?
There are countries that I read about, countries like Russia. If you take GMO to Russia, it's a death penalty. So these things are...
All right, Dr. Gwadabe. All right, Dr. Zainab Gwadabe, thank you so much for sharing your findings and your perception on genetically modified food right there. Dr. Gwadabe is the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of the Seed Projects Company Limited. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.